where are you from?
Hey, I'm from Florida. I live in America, but I've actually did study
Hold
abroad.
on, sir. I mean, sorry, ma'am. What's your ethnicity?
I'm born of a Jew, so I'm not religious, but I am Jewish.
You're born of a Jew. Is your mother Jewish?
Yes, both my parents were actually.
Both your parents were Jewish. Okay, so can you tell me something Jewish about yourself?
I'm a Kohen and a Levite.
You're a Kohen and a Levite. How does that work?
So my mom is Kohen and my dad was a Levite. My dad passed a long time ago.
Okay. Anything else Jewish about yourself?
I do try to remember to light the menorah every year, and I do know Jewish food. Um,
Light
I
the
just,
menorah every year. When?
huh?
When do you light the menorah?
On the first night, at least the first night of Hanukkah, I try to remember that. But I tend to,
Only the first night, huh?
well, I get overwhelmed. I'm a single mom and I have a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah, 1 minute to light a menorah is too much. Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's just so overwhelming. Okay. Anyways, yes, those single moms, they just don't have time to light the menorah.
Well, I have an autistic child.
Dude, you're not my monkey, not my circus. Anyways,
Mhm.
so what would you like to say about Israel Palestine?
So when I studied abroad there and I lived there,
You lived in Israel.
yeah, I lived in a town called Hod HaSharon.
Where is
Um,
that?
it's about 30 minutes from Tel Aviv and maybe 15 minutes from Netanya.
Okay, so why did you study abroad there?
Well, I have a love for history. My first degree is in history.
Right.
And when I was in high school, I wanted to do something. My parents always gave us a choice because there were so many kids that they didn't have enough money for, Hebrew school and
Ma'am,
bar.
this is too much of a story. I
Okay.
just want to know, in high school, this was high school you studied abroad?
Yes.
So in high
Yes.
school, you were like an exchange student in Israel?
Yes.
For how long?
A semester.
There are semesters in high school? I'm learning something new.
Well, it's like it was a little over 9 weeks, a quarter, I guess, but it wasn't exactly a quarter, but not quite a semester. So I don't know how do you would say that.
So you were in Israel for 9 weeks.
No, it was like 11 or 12 weeks, but
You were in Israel for 12 weeks.
mhm.
Where did you stay? I'm just curious.
Well, I did my high school classes normally, and then I also had the history of Israel, and we did a lot of like field trips, I guess.
So where did you stay? Did you stay like at somebody's house?
No, it was a dorm.
You stayed in like a dorm. So you stayed in like a seminary.
No, not a seminary. It's like a boarding school.
Like a seminary, same thing.
I
Okay, so
don't.
you stayed in like a seminary, and you did you take any religious classes? I'm just curious.
Well, not exactly. It was more based on history.
You're telling me you stayed in Israel in a seminary, and you didn't take anything
I didn't
religious?
stay in a seminary. I went to a school that it was like a high school, like a boarding school, and they taught all the normal classes, your science, your English, whatever, your regular classes.
Where was this? Was this near Tel Aviv?
No, it was about 30 minutes from Tel Aviv. It's in a small town.
Okay, so basically you stayed in a high school that was a
Mm-hmm.
dorm, and okay, and you took classes, and you took
Mm-hmm.
history classes, and then you okay, and then you took field trips. Where'd you go
Yeah,
to field
we
trips?
went at least once a week to a site, a historical site, like Belvar Crusader Fortress, or we went to Haifa. We went to Jerusalem a lot. We went to Jerusalem a lot. That was about an hour away. Um,
Okay, so basically, so now you consider yourself like an expert on the history of Israel, I guess.
well, no, I know more than the average person, I'm sure, but I also studied. I have a minor in Judaic studies. I got a degree from a university in history, um, and
Okay, so I hear your credentials. Okay, okay, I got it. Okay, so what are your thoughts on Israel Palestine since you're so
ever
educated?
since the start of the country, there have always been those who did not want it to exist.
I don't need a whole history lesson. Okay.
Right.
I get it. People disagree with one another.
The thing that I find fascinating is that
What are your thoughts on what's going on right now? I don't need
I,
a whole rundown of the last 76 years in Israel.
I'm not giving you the last 76 years. I'm giving you a couple of thoughts.
Go ahead.
My thoughts are that if the world would stop and think about the way they are forming their conclusion that Israel has to be perfect, or Israel has to do it this way, or Israel shouldn't kill any civilians. Listen.
Can you please say unalived? If you don't,
Sorry. Sorry,
I'm gonna
sorry.
have to move you. Go ahead.
Okay. The main thought is this, is that a majority, they have done studies, a majority of Palestinians in Gaza, I'm just talking about Gaza right now, are 60 to 70% of the adults there support the destruction of Israel.
Okay, what is your point? Okay, so your point is
They may not actively be T, but they are definitely supporting T. And
what is your? Can you get to your point? Your point is they hate Israel. Okay, they hate Israel.
no, they don't hate Israel. They want Israel to not exist.
That's the same. That's the same thing.
The problem with the people here in America is that they don't want Israel to exist, but they also don't like Jews. They don't want Jews to exist.
Dude, what is your point? Like, this is not breaking news. What can you land your plane? Can you tell us something?
I feel that Israel is doing the best they can with the tools they have, and they have better tools than most places to combat the T's.
Okay, ma'am. 10 seconds or less. Wrap up your point.
I support Israel's right to exist and right to defend itself.
Okay, amazing. You don't have any breaking news on, like, any thoughts on, like, what's going on in Gaza? Any thoughts on anything?
I am sorry, but the children in Gaza that have been unalived because of this war, I don't fault Israel for it. I fault their parents.
Well, I want to say something about that. Listen, any civilian unaliving is tragic. And listen, when I see Gazan children being unalived, I can't watch it. It brings me to tears. It makes me, and when I see their parents crying over them, I can't watch it.
But why? Listen, why?
I'm not done. I'm having a moment here. I'm not done. I can't watch crying parents crying over their children. As a mom, you're a mom. As a mom, it tears me apart to see unalived children, to see parents mourning over their children. It's bringing me to tears to even say this right now. It tears me apart. Even when I see a T child who has just committed a T attack, who has been pew-pewed, and I realize that child just lost its life because it decided to waste its life doing T attack.
That child didn't decide.
I'm not done yet. Because I realized that child decided to make a very bad decision and wasted its life instead of becoming a doctor or a lawyer or whatever good thing it could have become, and wasted its life because it was ruined by some crazy person who brainwashed it with an ideology. Because that's a waste of child's life. Because you know what? Any child could go down a bad road. They could do a mass pew-pewing at a school. They could go and pew-pew somebody. They could go and rob a bank. They could go and become a drug dealer. Whatever. That's the thing. Children sometimes make bad decisions. And when I see that in Israel-Palestine, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. Because we're mothers, and we don't want to see our children go down wrong paths. And that's very, very sad when I see a child make a decision that changes their life in a minute. And they end up on a table bleeding to death. It's very sad.
So do you think it is...
I'm not done yet. And then when I see civilian casualties in Gaza, and I see mothers and fathers crying over their unalived children, and I see children be boom to smithereens, I can't watch that. I'm not done yet. My mental health can't allow me to watch that.
Okay.
Now, when you say it's the fault of their parents, it's not the fault of their parents. I don't believe the Israeli government is targeting those children, or the IDF is targeting those children. But to say it's the fault of those parents, I'm sorry. That is
So
disgusting. I'm not done yet. That is disgusting. Listen, you can try to blame it on age group, IDF, whoever you want to blame it on. The fact is, it's war, and it's ugly.
I have a
And the
question
thing
for
is,
you.
I'm sorry. It's really sad and it's really bad. And the thing is, we just need to sit here and recognize the fact that it's a tragedy, and it's
I
sad,
don't
and it's
disagree, but
awful.
you listen,
No,
you
but
wouldn't
you
let
as
me
a
finish.
mother, you
You
as a
wouldn't let
mother
me
need to
finish
sit
my
here. I'm
comment.
not done yet. You as a mother need to sit here and sit with the fact that it's sad that a child is losing their life and a mother has lost their child.
Ma'am, you interrupted me consistently and kept trying to sidetrack me. I don't disagree with things you have said. Absolutely agree that it is heartbreaking for any child to have committed a crime
No,
or
but
something
some
like
of
that.
those
But
children are children who aren't T people, right? The civilian casualties in Gaza,
okay,
right,
they
are
may
not
not
T
be
people,
T
right?
people, but listen, they may not be T people, but I want to bring to your attention something that I did see personally with my own eyes, okay? They do have training centers for children as young.
Academic, not every single child in Gaza goes to those training centers. Academic,
Gaza didn't even exist.
academic, I'm sorry, I'm removing you
Listen,
'cause,
you
academic,
kept saying
I'm removing you for being anti-Palestinian and anti-Arab. We're not having this in this life. Not every single child in Gaza goes to those training centers. I'm sorry, Gazans are not a monolith. Palestinians are not a monolith. Arabs are not a monolith. Muslims are not a monolith. Not every single child in Gaza is going to an age group training camp. I'm done.